Welcome to Popping Culture, episode 16. I'm Jay.
I'm Adrian.
And thanks for joining us again this week. We're coming to you from our nondescript warehouse once
That's
again.
right. Yeah. Again, blue door on the left. Don't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
It gets real weird.
It does. There's a weird funhouse thing going on.
To be fair, there's actually a fun house here too. We have the what are those things called? The bounce castles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great investment. Until the insurance company said, no, you can't use this.
Okay. First of all, don't listen to Jay. It was a great deal we got on the bounce castles. One of them is an obstacle course bouncy castle. The other one's just your traditional bouncy castle.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should totally use those.
I totally should.
There you go.
That'd be hilarious.
I'm totally in.
All right.
You know what? Maybe if we have a bunch of these, you'll decide that's a good idea.
I don't even know if I need a bunch of. I think that sounds like a great idea as it is.
I'll totally let you borrow those.
All right.
All right. Speaking of these, is an Elysian Winter Ale, and it's called the Bifrost Winter Ale. Please make your own Thor puns. Do you have one available?
I'm thirsty.
Oh, I'm thirsty. I was just gonna throw the bottle on the ground when I was done and order another, but I like I'm thirsty
All right,
instead.
there we go.
That's less for me to clean up.
There it is. All right, so winter ale. What is a winter ale for those that don't know?
Bifrost Winter Ale is our lively winter seasonal, bold with citrus and earthy hops balanced with small-smooth character. Essentially, winter ale is just what it says there. It's brewed with different hops for different fermentation of flavor. That's all there is to it.
And they tend to have more of a citrus finish to them than some of your other beers.
Which I've never actually understood because I don't associate winter with citrus, yet most winter ales citrusy.
Yeah, no, I guess that's right. I mean, because first thing that pops in my head when I think citrus is in orange, obviously. That's kind of our main citrus thing. And I don't know how many, I guess other the little cuties, little tiny little oranges that are always out during winter.
The cuties and halos?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Look, we watch a lot of TV, and those Halo commercials are hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch them on Hulu, they're great. Cheers, mate.
It's got a very, very defined punch to it.
Yeah. It hits you like a pale ale, but it's not.
No.
Like, I enjoy it quite a bit.
And for me, the citrus I'm picking up, it isn't like there's orange juice in it. It's very much like an orange zest.
I was going to say it's a zest, as if you were making something.
Right. It's not like somebody took an orange and squeezed it into the vat. It's definitely the zest. It's very, so we got like a pithy, zesty.
Yeah, no, it's lighter than you would think it would be, despite the color. It's good. Elysian hasn't really made a bad beer. They've made some I'm not fond of, but it's not been a bad beer. This one actually came recommended to us by the DM of my D&D group.
Are you still doing your D&D group? I know you were saying you were not going to be as involved because of your travel.
I'm not as involved because of traveling.
Okay, but it's been a bit since you've traveled. So has that allowed you to maybe do a couple pickup games here and there?
I've picked up 2 since the last trip I went on,
Okay.
Which I don't even remember what the last trip was.
Boise?
Was it
I
Boise
think
with
Boise
us?
was your last trip.
No, we went somewhere after. I went somewhere after that. I don't know. You guys, you keep better track of the stuff than I do. I don't know, but I've picked up 1 or 2. I love board games, tabletop games. Let's not criticize. I love video games. You know, like I'm currently obsessed with my Wii U, Super Mario World. It's great.
So you have the Wii U?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never actually played it.
Oh, so you thought just 'cause I have the Xbox One, I didn't have the Wii U as well?
Well, I guess for whatever reason I never saw you as as somebody who would pick up a current gen Nintendo console.
Oh, I love Nintendo. Like, I've never traveled without my 3DS.
Well, right, okay.
And when I mean travel, I mean it is constantly in my laptop bag.
Yeah.
Where I go, it goes. I'm not joking about you coming over for a movie night. We totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
We'll do a little Wii U and a little movie.
Okay.
It's going to be great.
All right.
But yeah, so I love games. And currently the big one I'm playing is the Marvel Dice Master game.
Okay.
It's taking me a little while to get into it. There's a whole collectible portion of it I'm not sure if I want to jump on to yet.
Okay.
Because there's only 4 super rare cards per set. And there's only 2 sets out yet. But some of them, like on eBay right now, one guy's got it for 99 cents.
Oh.
Starting bid auction.
Yeah.
The last one sold for $78.
Ooh.
I'm not paying $78 for one card. It's just not happening. I don't even know how to explain that to Jess. be like, look, baby, shabam. Like, I would have to sugarcoat it with, and I got you this sweater.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I wanted to take a break from D&D exclusively and play some other tabletop games. Luckily, my friend Michael is DMing a new group, the guy who recommended this. Right. And his is it's very light. Okay. It's not, like the last group I was in was very serious. And they wanted it to be even more serious. Oh. I'm in it for the fun, not the role-playing aspect. Yeah. So he's like, nope, just come over. We're doing a dungeon crawl. We're not taking this seriously. We're all just hanging out. I'm like, that is the game I want. Okay. And that is the game I got.
So you said you've been playing the Marvel Dice game. And I think you and I have talked about this probably off air. You also play or have played the DC deck building game.
Oh, I love the DC deck building game.
Have you played the new expansion that just came out?
Forever Evil?
Yeah.
Sadly, I have not.
Okay.
And it's killing me. Why did you have to bring that up?
I have not. I've only played the original. I haven't played
the blue box.
Yeah, I haven't even played the first expansion.
So, the blue box was the first one.
Right.
Which is a whole single game.
Right.
Then the red game came out, which again was a whole single game. And then they did the Crisis expansion that can be played with either of those. Okay. And now Forever Evil's out, which is again a single game.
So I've played the original blue box. Okay. I have not played the Crisis expansion. My buddy Chris, who is the one that owns the game that I've played, he just posted on Facebook. Must have been yesterday or the day before, whatever day it just came out this week. So whatever day it came out, he got it that day, and he tagged a bunch of people. And he's like, "All right, we're gonna play." Yeah. So hopefully, I make it over there to play that, to check it out, because I'm not huge on the card-based games unless they're played with a deck of playing cards. But that was one that I really enjoyed, and I think it's because I'm so familiar with the characters. I've tried to get into Magic, and it was beyond me, because I felt like there was all this knowledge I had to have about the cards to even be able to understand the game.
No, I totally get it, and unfortunately, it is a little bit that way in the dice game. DC is very straightforward. It is what it is.
Yeah.
In the dice game, there is a more, like Magic, you need to build your deck. You need to build your set.
Yeah.
Here's all your options. Like, I have a 3-ring binder with all 126 cards. I can only play 6 at a time.
Yeah.
So I have to choose, okay, I want this team and this team. Whereas the deck building games, all those cards are available. It's the luck of the draw.
Yeah, and I think that's the model I prefer, where it's the draw your hand, not come with a pre-assembled.
No.
Yeah.
I prefer it also. In the DC deck building games, it's a lot of fun. Compared to that or Marvel Legendary, which is Marvel's version of it,
right?
I actually prefer the DC one.
Yeah, and I played the Marvel version. I didn't like that either.
I don't dislike it. I don't like it as much.
Okay.
The downside about the dice building game, I'm going to keep saying DC when I mean dice, so you guys just figure out what I mean, please.
The Andrew Dice Clay game.
Oh my God. There's just so many naughty nursery rhymes in that game. I love it. You think, he was the original Cards Against Humanity, wasn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I still, my favorite one, which I should stop saying in public, but I can't, is Jack and Jill went up the hill to smoke some marijuana. Jack got high and dropped his fly and said, Jill, do you wanna? Jill said yes and raised their jest, and then they had some fun. But stupid Jill forgot her pill, and now they have a son.
Ayo.
Like, how is that not like, that is the original Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah.
The dice game, it's all characters I'm familiar with, but sometimes I have a really hard time picking my team.
Okay.
Because I'm like, oh, this Magneto card goes great with this Mystique card and this Ileana Rasputin card. Wait a minute, they shouldn't be on the same team, though. They're nemesis. I can't do, like, you know, like, I get caught up in my own head about
Magic's a little, she's, she ruled hell for a while. I mean, yeah.
But, like, so one of my Captain America cards says you can field the dice for free. Like, if you field Captain America, just go with the terms.
Yeah.
If you field Captain America, the next dice you field is free.
Okay.
Well, oftentimes I'll field Captain America because he's cheap and use him to field my Magneto because he's expensive.
Okay.
But then I'm like, well, why is he helping him? This isn't, no.
Because they're both against the Red Skull. Yeah.
They're not, though. They're just against the other team.
No, I know.
So.
All right. I don't think I will be trying that game. I think it's a little out of my reach.
The dice game is really out of some people's reaches. I want to say it's a casual game, but it's not. Okay. Like, the DC deck building is a great casual game. You get some people over, you can explain it, and you play. The deck building game, you have to pay $20 just to get your starter set. That
Right.
just gives you the basic minimal heroes. They had to buy expansions to get better heroes and more dice because you only start with 2 dice.
Oh.
But you can play 4 per character. So it's definitely a much larger investment. Luckily, I've been really fortunate to be given a lot of cards from people.
Okay.
Just so I don't, like, not because I don't want to spend the money. Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't want to spend the money. I don't.
Yeah.
And that's why I never played Magic was I hate the idea of blind booster boxes.
Right.
Like, I'm paying $3 for something I may not want.
Right.
And I can't do that.
Yeah. But Magic makes tons of money off that.
Oh, it makes tons of money.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Like, they sell out of their boxes.
Right.
Like, at the comic store a couple days ago, someone just walked in. He's like, do you have a full box of... I can't remember what the new Magic is. They're like, yeah, it's $120. Done. Here you go. Thanks.
Jeez.
And he sat there and opened a couple and left. Came back an hour later. He's like, hey, these are all the duplicates in that pack. Do you guys have like a trade or something? They're like, no. He's like, okay. Like, that was it.
Wow.
Like, half of his stuff was duplicates, things he didn't need. I'm like, you just... Essentially, $50 was just wasted then.
Yeah.
But, you know, to each their own.
Okay.
I can't judge unless we're reading bad comic books. Then I judge vehemently.
Yeah. Like Batgirl.
Oh, like Frat Girl.
Yeah.
Or maybe one of the books you're about to review.
Maybe, except it wasn't as bad as I thought. It's not great. It is not great.
Shh.
But before we get into that...
Save the tease, buddy.
Before we
Save
get
the
into
tease.
that, what have you been watching this
Oh
week?
my God. So, as you all know, I'm finishing my F-word obsession. I only have 1 episode left. And it's the sheep going to slaughter and the final plating, right? What has happened since is, of course, he's on this whole... Season 1 was women back in the kitchen. Season 3 is fast food.
Yep.
Get rid of fast food. There's some recipes you can make at home. Quick, simple, healthy. Meanwhile, he's obviously in the kitchen and then raising the sheep. One of the sheeps got killed.
Okay.
And it was super sad. So the funniest part is like they've eaten his entire backyard. He has no grass left. So he goes to a friend of his with a bigger yard. She has no grass left. So they're like, okay, we need something bigger. So he puts the sheep in a trailer and they're driving and he's talking to his kids. And the kids are trying to guess where they're going. And the little girl goes, are we going to Auntie Victoria's? And he's like, that's right. We're going to Buckingham Palace.
What?
Victoria and
Yeah.
Beckham.
Right.
Because they have a 17-acre yard.
Oh, jeez.
Not the entire complex. That's just their yard.
Right.
It's 17 acres.
Yeah.
So the sheep are just roaming free and loving it. Well, one of them gets mauled by a large cat. They believe it was a jaguar.
Oh.
And killed.
Wow.
So Gordon had a really hard time with that. Like, a really hard time. Like, you could tell he was, when he found out the news, he was avoiding looking at the camera. He was talking about it, but he was avoiding looking at the camera. I'm assuming it's because he was crying.
Oh.
Because I looked up the news reports to find out what happened. And, you know, when you read his statements, even the journalist was like, he's very clearly very torn up about, like, this is not for a show. He's very clearly, because they did. When he would call, they'd answer. They knew his voice. Like, there was that interaction, that bonding. So he brought them home. Like, he didn't want them out at Victoria Beckham's place anymore. He brought them home. And he was explaining to his daughter what had happened. And the little girl starts to cry.
Oh, no.
Because she has a pet cat. So to her, it was her cat that did it. And you're just like, that's hilarious. So F-Word's almost done. And caught up on Marry Me.
Okay.
This was the first episode where I saw a little chink in the armor.
Okay.
It's been really good. I've really been enjoying it. It's been really funny. And then I was surprised to find out this episode they focused on the friends and not the married couple. And I was like, meh, take it or leave it.
Right.
So there's obviously the comedic factor to those couples. And the only other TV thing I have to say is about Selfie.
Okay.
Which breaks my heart that I found out it was canceled.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it was canceled on November 7th.
Okay.
And as you know, I watch all my TV on Hulu.
Right.
So I didn't know that November 7th it was taken off air. But Hulu agreed with ABC to air the rest of the season.
Oh, okay.
So I get to finish the season and that's going to be it. But I was like, wait. Because I wanted to see when season 2 came up. Turns out no season 2.
No.
Which sucks. That show's been phenomenal.
Okay.
So kind of bummer news on that. but it is what it is.
Yeah.
What about you, man? What are you watching?
I've watched a few more episodes of Heart of Dixie.
Okay.
I'm about halfway through season 2. Season 4 is just about to go on air, so I've got a lot of catching up to do in the next couple weeks.
Should we just turn this off and go get to work on it?
It's cool.
Okay.
I have the last week and a half of the year off, so that'll be my TV catch-up time, which will be nice. So watch that. I got cable this week.
Yeah, you're
Ridiculous. I'm getting like 180 channels plus double the internet speed plus HBO for the exact same price I was paying for my internet before.
So I had a question about that.
Okay.
Now that you have cable and you're watching things on DVR, are you going to continue to torrent?
Well, so here's the thing. I haven't figured out how my on-demand works yet.
What? You're a very tech-savvy guy.
Right, but as I was telling you, I've been super busy.
Right.
I got it. I got the cable Friday, and then I got engaged Friday. So not really any time.
I love how you just breeze over that.
It's there.
That's right. He just said it. Ladies. Yeah. I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Rarely do I interrupt you, but I'm going to take this.
Very rare occurrence.
It is like only 3 or 4 times an episode, my friend. That's rare. You should see me talk to my brother. The only words I've heard him say are, and then it's interruptions. Ladies, look at this face, is not going to be single much longer. Congratulations, man. You got engaged.
Yes, I did.
Like, good for you.
Right? I'm like an adult now.
You're like a real person in things.
Yeah.
I won't get too much in your personal life on air, but congratulations.
Thank you. So that happened the same day I got the cable. So obviously we did not explore the cable that night.
And for the record, the engagement was the highlight of the day, not the cable, right? Like,
we'll go with that.
Okay, yeah. Just trying to help you out here, man.
Yeah. So then I'm just about done with my school term. Ends this Thursday, so the rest of my weekend was spent working on my final project with just some TV on in the background.
Right.
So the TV that was on in the background, though, was all of the home buying and home renovation shows on HGTV. Because I'm a sucker for a good Love It or List It or House Hunters, perhaps even some Property Brothers.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, this happened to us while we were in Boise, right? We turned on one episode, and then they were doing a marathon.
Yeah, no, that's how HGTV works.
Yeah, because we were like, man, we're going to watch a little something and go to bed.
Right.
We watched like 6 episodes, went to bed at 2, and had to be up at 6 or something.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay.
I was up at 4:30 Monday morning. I think I went to bed at about 12:30 the night before. So, and I had never seen. They have a new one on there now. So, I don't know if you're familiar with Love It or List It.
I'm only familiar with the one that you and I watched,
which was House Hunters.
Okay.
So House Hunters is just somebody that's going out looking for a house. They look at 3 houses and they pick one.
Okay. Yep, familiar with that.
They're already in escrow on a house before the show even ever gets recorded. It's one of the requirements. But they make it seem like you're actually seeing them hunt for a house. Love It or List It is people that already own a house, but they're not satisfied with it. They don't like the layout of it, or if it's not the right style or whatever.
Sure.
So they have a designer come in and redo their house on a budget. At the same time, they have a real estate agent showing them houses that are what they are asking for. And at the end of the show, they have to decide, do we want to keep the house we already have now that some of it is upgraded how we want, or do we want to sell our house and buy one of these ones that we saw? So it's like House Hunters, but with the twist of they're also getting their own home renovated at the same time.
Has there been a majority of them keep it, or a majority of them move on?
It's about half and half.
Is it? Okay.
Because what often happens is they'll get in and start doing the renovation of the house and find problems with the house. So, you want us to update your bathroom? Well, we ripped out some of the fixtures and found out that you have dry rot, so we had to do a full and that costs all this money. So we weren't able to do this other thing that you wanted. So
because
typically 50 to 70% of what they wanted actually gets done.
Interesting, but it makes sense.
Yeah, but a lot of times it ends up where even what gets done is exactly what they wanted, but the rest of the house just doesn't.
Doesn't match up. Okay.
So I was watching that. Property Brothers, I was watching that. And then there was another one I was watching, Flip or Flop, which is kind of an interesting show. it's a husband and wife team who were in real estate sales, and then when the housing market dropped out a couple years ago, they weren't selling anything, so they had to figure out something else. So they got into buying houses to flip them and resell them.
Sure. It's common practice.
Yes, and it ends up being a lot of the same thing, like what happens on Love It or List It, where they'll go to an auction and buy a house in foreclosure, and they'll go in there and they'll be like, a lot of times they don't see the inside of the house at the auction.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's sight unseen. So they get in there and they're like, we have $80,000 worth of work to do this house now. So you get to see like what other houses in the area have sold for recently, so they've got that benchmark. Mm-hmm. We can't obviously put it on the market for $50,000 more than the house next door sold for because that's value too high. So it's kind of interesting.
No, I find it really interesting because, as you know, Jess and I are now looking for a house.
Right.
We've gotten pre-qualified for an amount, not pre-approved, but pre-qualified, right. Going through the steps. And that's something that I'm interested in, is buying something that needs a little bit more work, mm-hmm. because it's going to be our first home.
Exactly.
You know, we get in for something because Seattle's a very, very expensive property. So getting into something a little bit cheaper, doing some renovations in 5 years, selling it, and then moving up.
Yeah.
That is not something she's interested in.
Or even keeping it as a rental property while sweat equity.
To generate it.
Yeah.
Sure. Not something she's interested in. And with me traveling so much,
right,
that becomes a burden.
Yeah, and that's something, as I'm watching the shows, is a common theme where the husband is like, yeah, we can do a little work and save some money, and the wife's like, I want it ready right now.
Yeah.
And I understand. I think
totally.
Yeah.
You're spending hundreds of thousands on something and then having to put in so much work into it.
Right.
I get that.
Yeah. So.
That's it. That's what I've been watching.
Yeah,
HGTV. There's a couple announcements about some shows. Shield, Agents of Shield, just announced. They finally announced who Skye really is, and she is Daisy Johnson from obviously Shield. And did you ever read Secret Warriors?
No.
So Secret Warriors was Nick Fury's little secret team,
right?
You know, little offshoot of Shield. She was their leader, and she was also involved with Secret Wars. She's pretty much Nick Fury's little espionage girl.
Got it.
So it's been revealed that that's who Skye really is.
Ah.
Flash has been revealed. Harrison Wells is the Reverse Flash.
Which is not a shocker.
It's not a shocker.
It seemed pretty obvious that from about the second episode.
So the question is going to come into play. We've seen Eddie Thawne as the detective.
Right.
We saw the Reverse Flash with Eddie Thawne not damaging him. So it's, in my mind, it's very clear that that's a relative.
Yeah.
And that
Eddie's his great-great-great-grandfather.
That he's named after him or something along those lines. Which I'm assuming they did just to, as a red herring for people who knew the Flash.
Right.
But also because that could be some drama that they can build in later when he realizes who he's related to and whatnot in the other. So that's TV. Let's move on to movies. Do you have any movies?
I did not watch any movies this week.
Okay. So I have been building a holiday queue of DVDs and Netflix.
Okay.
Holidays are coming up. Jess loves the holidays.
Right. Yeah, Festivus, I know.
Yeah, it's the Festivus, of course.
For the rest of us.
Or Kwanzaa. I don't want to tell you what you kind of... Starbucks has a Kwanzaa gift card out, by the way.
Really?
I have one of those because that's amazing.
Wait, are you allowed to have that? Is that...
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Nothing. Never mind. Go ahead.
Solidarity, brothers. Don't let Jake keep you down. I am a minority, remember? You're white. No, I understand, judging by the way we look. It's a funny statement to make.
I was going to say...
but truth be told, I do qualify.
Okay.
So, I have a huge holiday queue built up.
Okay. So it's like the Santa Claus and Santa Claus 1 and...
Okay, I love the Santa Claus of Tim Allen.
Did you know there's 3 of those?
Yeah, I did.
I found that out last week. I'm like, when did they make... I recall a number 2.
I recall it too. I don't recall the third.
It must have been a direct-to-DVD, and I don't think it's Tim Allen.
Oh, if it's not Tim Allen, I'm out.
Right.
I'm out. But no, it's like a Muppets Christmas Carol.
Okay.
A Peanuts Christmas,
Okay.
DreamWorks Christmas, like all the 3 Mickey Mouse Christmas shorts. Like I am building this queue, so when I get back on Tuesday, it is going to be
If you make it back.
There's currently a flood advisory to where I'm flying, and a wind advisory on when I'm flying out.
Right, and it is Jersey.
To be fair, I am flying into New York.
Right.
I'm staying a mile from Manhattan. It's still.
It's within walking distance to civilization. Yeah.
It is. You know, it's funny though. While I'm in New York and I do have Thursday night free, do you know what I'm doing?
I have no clue.
I'm going to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I have to. I've been binging on the F Word and Kitchen Nightmare. I have to go.
Are you going to swing by Guy Fieri's restaurant too?
That guy's a hack.
I know.
How dare you?
Right.
That man would have no good barbecue if I bit him in the tuchus.
True.
Now I have Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and Christmas on my list. I did watch. I rewatched, I guess you'd say, the last hour of the Bewitched movie.
Oh.
With Nicole Kidman and Will Ferrell. Okay. I walked. So Jess is sick. So like the good husband, I came home from work, brought groceries, I made her soup, and took care of her, in the middle of my day. And she was watching that when I walked in. And I walked in and just like rolled my eyes. Like,
right.
I don't mean once. It was a slot machine when I saw that thing on. So I'm cooking and I'm watching, and then it's over, and I realized to myself, it's a lot better than I remember.
Really?
Like,
I saw it in theater.
Oh, I did too.
It's a waste of money.
But still better than Dumb and Dumber 2.
Oh, I don't doubt that. Yeah.
Like, that's just what it is.
Yeah, no, there was some good parts in that movie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I haven't watched any full-length movies. I picked up Guardians, so I'll watch that on my flight.
Okay.
I got a 7-hour flight. I got to fill it with something. It's going to be comic books and movies and video games. All right. Speaking of comic books, what is on your pull list this week, man?
So this week, as most weeks, wasn't a lot of comics. Actually, the only comics that I got this week that are regular books for me were Green Lantern Corps and Batman Eternal. So I was like, well, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to try a couple books I haven't tried before.
That's fair.
So in addition to those, I also got 2 first issues. First one is Eternal #1 from Boom Studios. And because I thought it would be a funny read, I got Bitch Planet #1, written by Kelly Sue DeConnick, published by
Mrs. Matt Fraction, please.
Yeah, sorry, published by Image Comics.
Okay,
so that's what I got. What did you get over there?
I barely got anything this week.
Yep, light week for you.
Light week for me. Light DC week. Like last week was all DC with 1 Marvel. This is all Marvel with 3 DC.
It's a plot.
It is a plot. I know it. They were like, look it. If we release ours on this day and you guys in next week, Adrian is going to think he's not spending as much on comic books and then still make sure he hits his mark by buying more comic books on that week.
Right.
Ergo, next week you guys are going to get more sales.
Yeah.
Joe Quesada, I want like some sort of recognition that I paid for your kid's college. Something.
Right.
All right, so I got Nightcrawler, The Amazing Spider-Man Annual, Guardians of the Galaxy Annual, then the regular Amazing Spider-Man issue. And why are we printing issues and annuals in the same freaking week? I'm just saying.
Why are we making annuals of event comics?
Amazing Spider-Man is not an event.
No. But remember we had...
Original Sin Annual?
Original Sin Annual. They're just going to throw annual on everything.
They are. I do like the idea of the annual where it's like, hey, once a year, here's a fun story. It's not part of the storyline that's going on. Here's a fun story to read. I like the idea, but not everything needs a freaking annual.
No.
If I see an X-Force annual, I'm going to shoot somebody. X-Force is another book I got this week, which, as you all remember, is on my soon-to-be-cut list. Amazing X-Men, Spider-Verse Team-Up, Avengers, Green Lantern Corps, Earth 2 World's End, Future's End, Spider-Man and the X-Men, and just X-Men.
You bought that?
I did.
Oh, God.
I did. Okay, you just heard me list all my books off. It is all Spider-Man and X-Men this week. So why not mix the 2 into 1?
I like spaghetti and bananas, but I wouldn't mix them together.
Oh, my God. Spaghetti and bananas. Delicious. I know we just ate, but fucking give me another one of those. Like, no, seriously, let's look at my books this week, man. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 X-Men books, 1, 2, 3 Spider-Man books. Mix them together, they know their market, Spider-Man and the X-Men. They're not. Oh, and then as far as they're not dumb. They know what's up.
Yeah. All right, so I will do my first review.
Please do.
I'm going to go ahead and do Eternal first. So, did you watch Battlestar Galactica?
I sure didn't.
Okay. Well, then that...
But I watched Caprica. Does that count?
No.
Okay.
Because you had to have exposure to the Cylons for this to make sense.
Okay, I know what the Cylons are.
Okay, so for those of you that have watched Battlestar Galactica, the Cylons, it was just a bunch of cyborgs that were very human-like, and there was many, many, many copies of each one. Yeah. And if one was killed, their consciousness would transfer into one of the other dormant bodies, and that body would come back to life. That's how that worked. Eternal takes place about 200 years in the future, and there's a company that has perfected human cloning and consciousness transfer.
Okay.
So, when a person dies, they don't die. Their consciousness gets transferred into another clone body of themselves, or they generate a clone body because they keep all the DNA, and the consciousness, all the memories, everything that transfer into that new body.
I'm with you so far.
Okay. So, this book starts out with these reports of, they're calling them death parties. So they're kind of explaining that in human existence, death has always been the thing that kind of shapes life. You know you're going to die and everything's going to end, so that's how you essentially live your life. Is I'm doing this because I know I'm going to die at some point. So you have this temporariness that causes you to act in certain ways.
You're getting really, really deep on me all of a sudden.
Right.
Like
this is like, whoa. So now that this company has perfected cloning and consciousness transfer, everybody essentially has an eternal life. Nobody ever dies. They just get regenerated into a new body.
Okay.
So because of that, some people have a boredom or something like that. So they're coming up with creative ways to die or be transferred.
I would totally do that. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah. So these death parties, what it is it's groups of people that get together and come up with the most ridiculous, gruesome ways to kill each other because nobody's really dying.
Right. You just go to your next body.
Yeah. So there's reports of this happening. That's how the comic starts out. And then you find out that there is a group of people who are against the whole cloning and transfer.
Okay.
They think it's unnatural. They call themselves the Human Liberation Front.
Are they run by Garrison Creed?
Grayson Creed?
It's not Grayson.
Graydon. Yeah. You said Garrison.
Did I say Garrison?
You're mixing Garrison Kane and Graydon Creed.
Now I gotta go read Nick Crochet and sort this out.
Right. Anyways, so there's this holdout group, and the people that have not gone through this process where they've gotten their DNA collected, they're called pures. Like pure. They're pure. Sure. They're the only natural humans left that aren't clones. The group that created the cloning process is trying to hunt these people down because they want everybody...
This company is hunting down the pures.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they want everybody to be... essentially, the DNA itself is considered high value.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what they're doing with the DNA. It hasn't shown that yet. My guess would be they're probably spicing DNA together to create something. I don't know. So you've got these pures they're the holdouts. Now this company, they find the base of the pure leader, who's got a bunch of people that she's protecting that are still pures. So they find this base and they go after her. And as they're about to capture her, she ends up shooting herself in the head, and they realize, well, now she's also using clone technology.
But not through them.
Not through them. So her DNA is still protected, but she's now able to get away from them because she can clone herself. She's still protecting these other pures, but she's sacrificed the purity of herself to be able to... Whatever. you weren't allowed to kill a pure, even if they were resisting you. There was a no killing rule because they were still preserving life, whatever. After they find out that this person in charge of the pures has also started using clone technology, they're like, fuck it, that rules out. You can kill anybody if they're resisting you.
Now, is this a rule or a law?
It was a law.
So wait a minute. So the government's on board with them?
Absolutely.
That is freaking weird.
Right?
Okay.
So now they're saying if you have a pure and they're not responding to your questioning or anything like that, you can kill them. Because they obviously no longer value pure life like they said they did, because they're using this clone technology now. So we're not going to protect their pure life. Just kill them. So 2 of the hostages that they got from this building that weren't giving them information, they killed.
But probably did not have the clone technology.
Right. They were still pierced. So far, the leader is the only one that's a clone. So then you have a cop who was against killing these people, and he walked off the job because of it. You show him in a bar. It shows him in a bar talking to one of his other cop buddies, and like, this is too far. I can't do this anymore. I'm out. And the guy's like, well, if you try to leave, they're going to kill you. And he's like, yeah, well, that's my choice to make.
Interesting.
So that's kind of where the book ends.
What do you think?
I really dig the concept. It's it's Boom, so it's not tied down by some of the DC or Marvel. Like, they can be a little bit darker, they can be a little bit. So I like it. I am in for this. I'm glad I found this number 1. So
well, good. I'm glad that you found. Would you do it? Like, would you be pure or would you transfer consciousness?
It's a very tough choice. I would probably transfer my consciousness.
Do I get to choose to have a better looking body, or is it just me?
It would be, as far as I can tell, it's you however you were when you got cloned.
Oh, so I could totally work out for a year, get a great clone, and then go
and then that's
back.
You forever.
Oh, yeah. Well, now that's a different story entirely. Yeah, no. That's the whole reason I only had half a Jack in the Box breakfast sandwich this morning instead of the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, their ultimate breakfast sandwich. It's so good.
I go for the breakfast Jack. It's $1.
I know. We've had this talk.
Yeah.
Nations divided. My brother's actually with you on the breakfast Jack. That is his.
Your brother and I seem to agree on a lot of things.
Yeah, that's right. My brother had written in saying Jeigh was right about Dollhouse.
Yep.
And he actually made a very witty comment about how he doesn't understand why we're ripping on the Fantastic Four. There's been a great Fantastic Four movie made. It was called The Incredibles.
I was going to say, what one is he talking about here? But he's got a valid point. Yeah,
The Incredibles was awesome. JJ, good job, man. All right. So my comic is Spider-Man and the X-Men, number 1. Which used to be Wolverine and the X-Men.
Right.
So Wolverine is dead, hence becomes to Spider-Man. So what had happened is Wolverine had contacted Spider-Man saying, here's a list of students. One of them is a mole. Find out who they are. Be their guidance counselor. You grew up as Spider-Man in high school. You understand what it's like. Find out who the mole is. The reason I want it to be you and not one of the other X-Men is, just because they're tied in too close. I want it to be you.
I have 2 guesses.
Okay, go.
Kid Apocalypse.
Not one of the options. He's already Apocalypse.
Okay. The fucking Brood child.
Not an option.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Good choices.
Those 2 were always like, why would you have them in the school?
I love Kid Brood. Love Kid Brood.
All right.
So when I first picked up this issue, I got it because, as you heard, I'm a bunch of Spider-Man and X-Men. Yeah. I opened the first page, and I literally closed it. Oh. And I was like, shit, do I want to keep reading this book?
What is the first page that made you do that?
So I'm going to open the first page.
Okay.
There's a note from Logan to Spider-Man.
Right.
Asking him to meet to tell him about what's going on. And I quote, "Hey, nerd. I got a big job for you, and there ain't nobody else I can trust. Meet me at the bar where we got in that fight with those guys who called you nerd. Kisses, then a heart, Logan."
Yeah, no, that's totally something Wolverine would write.
Like, I saw that, I closed it, I was like, motherfucker. Like, if this is going to be the whole book, I'm I'm so out already because that's so not.
Yeah.
Really, Logan signed it with a heart, and you're the only person I can trust and whatnot. So I did a little more. Did a little more work, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to read the book.
By the way, I totally want those shoes.
Right? Spider-Man Heelys?
I didn't know Heelys still existed.
Oh, So not only are Heelys a thing, I may be ordering a pair.
Really? What is this, 2004?
Okay, first of all, I'm bringing that and plaid back.
Okay, I was hoping you would say you're getting a pair of Heelys and a pair of soaps. Do you remember soaps?
I do remember soaps.
Oh.
So we got a bunch of Razor scooters for the last convention we went to.
Why?
Because we had so much space, we wanted something to do. So then the option came in, well, what if we had Heelys? To be fair, we got some celebrities to play on our scooter as well, so it was kind of fun. Anyways, so the book starts off with Storm carrying Spider-Man in. He gets set up. He defeats the villain. He tries to bond with the suspects from Logan's list. One thing leads to another, and they end up at the museum, end up with Sauron. They get captured at the new Savage Land, which is Staten Island.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Okay, it all makes sense. Obviously, it's a very quick synopsis of what the entire book is entailed. I'm actually not out on this book. I'm not in on this book. I'm
just the tip.
Just the book's getting the tip of the love. Like, I'm not gonna kick it out of bed, but I'm not making it breakfast. You know what I mean? So the thing about it was, I actually really enjoyed the writing.
Okay, who's writing?
Callan.
Okay.
It's not that I love the story. I love the dialogue.
Okay.
It's very Spider-Man. It's very jovial. He's playful. He's getting into trouble while still cracking jokes. It's the Spider-Man I like to read. Everything going on in the Spider-Verse, he's a little bit more serious. He's not that jovial, playful Spider-Man. He's not the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man I've come to love. So I'm enjoying that portion of it. Obviously, he doesn't know which one of the students is a mole. If any, who knows what's really going on with that. But it was enough classic, jovial, funny Spider-Man that I enjoyed it.
Now, would it be a little too on the nose if it ends up being Mole Man in disguise?
The mole is Mole Man?
Yeah, right?
A little on the nose.
Okay.
Just a little.
He's the groundskeeper. Nobody notices.
No, the groundskeeper's Toad.
I thought he was the janitor.
Yeah, and the groundskeeper.
Oh.
He just maintains.
Okay.
Plus, they're
like the dude.
He's the dude. Toad maintains, yo. You gotta remember, also, their grounds is a live mutant called Krakoa. So,
right.
There's that, too. So, yeah, I went in not wanting to read it. The art was fine. The story was fine. The dialogue was fun.
Okay.
And it has your favorite Hellion in it. You love Hellion.
Oh, sorry. I do enjoy Hellion. I thought you meant my favorite person from the Hellions team.
Dusk?
Who the fuck is Dusk?
She's the one who turned to dust.
That's Dust.
Always wore the...
I thought you said Dusk with a K.
Who's Dusk?
That's what I asked you.
Is Dusk one of the K1 of Superboy and the Ravagers? No joke. Do you remember Superboy and the Ravagers?
No.
Oh my god! Finally, a book I know you don't know. People, this is astounding. Jay's memory is so much better than mine that to know a book Jay doesn't know is a little shocking.
I feel like that's just Connor decided to start a garage band.
Before he was even called Connor.
Oh,
yeah. Old school, when he still had the leather jacket, yo. This is when he's in issue 11, he stopped wearing the leather jacket.
Okay.
Granted, Superboy and the Ravers only went to issue 12. Essentially,
it's because he took off the leather jacket, right?
Yeah.
You're like, our entire market.
Boo. Do you remember when he was going to be Superman, and then Superman came back to life, and the whole life and death of Superman, the return of Superman?
I wasn't reading DC then.
All right, so yeah, Superman returns, and then the four of them, Steel, Eradicator, Superboy, and Cyborg, had to figure out what to do with themselves. no joke, Superboy and the Ravers is about Superboy going to different like intergalactic raves while there's some head guy who's evil as a foot at all these raves.
He's making baddie.
Hence Superboy and the Ravers. Like that is it. That is the whole premise.
Oh, that is so terrible.
And it is 12
and
issues.
so 90s.
It is 12 issues of awesome. Like all this shit's getting republished. You remember Divine Right by Jim Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just got republished in a complete collection.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's only fucking 13 issues. How big is your complete, like...
So it's like an oversized hardcover table book.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be something ridiculous.
Yeah. Pop out.
Just Jim Lee's name alone.
Right?
Yeah. All right. Second issue for you, my friend.
All right. So the other book that I'm going to talk about is something that I bought because I thought it would give me something really good to bitch and moan about.
Which I was really hoping for.
Right. Unfortunately, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Well, you're not as jaded as you should be.
No. There's definitely terrible parts in this book.
Okay.
So it's Bitch Planet, #1, by our favorite, Kelly Sue DeConnick, a.k.a. Mrs.
Mrs. Matt Fraction.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, bitch, please.
So I'm still trying to figure out, I'll have to read more issues once they come out to figure out exactly the backstory of all that happened. But essentially, you can tell Kelly Sue DeConnick is a very strong women's lib advocate.
She's the new poster child. Now that Gail Simone is no longer the favored poster child, it's now Kelly Sue DeConnick with the Ms. Marvel and the Carol Corps.
Right. So this book, anytime a woman is not compliant with her man, as far as that I can understand, it has to do with a non-compliance issue. They get sent to Bitch Planet.
Oh, I love
which
this. Yes.
is literally a completely separate planet.
You listen to this, Jesses? This is going to happen in real life. Keep talking, I'm in. She may be a patriot after all.
Right. So it's essentially a women's prison for women that are non-compliant. Mm-hmm. In the opening pages, you see
them in the kitchen, them in the laundry room.
No. You see them in the intake process.
Okay. Of
the prison, and they're being given their. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, they're being given their uniforms and things like that. There's a very large woman in here saying that her uniform's not big enough, and the guards are saying they're designed specifically to fit your body. There can't be a mistake, and she's like, no, there's a mistake, and she ends up like hitting a guard and stuff like that.
Bitch, please.
So then you see a man come in to talk to the warden, and he's saying, look, my wife is here, and she's not supposed to be here. It's a mistake, da-da-da-da. And then you see, a couple pages later, you see a lady with his last name in the prison trying to be attacked by a guard, and there's somebody else that's protecting her or whatever. And the guy's just saying, look, I will give you whatever money I have if you make this whole mistake go away and quick and give me my wife back and whatever. So it goes between his conversation with the warden and then a prison riot happening. And then he's telling the guy's telling a story about how he had an affair with this another woman because his wife was essentially cold to him. There was distance between them, so he fell in love with this other woman. Da 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 da.
Okay, it sounds like you had good reasoning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
right.
That's fair then.
So then there's a scene where his wife gets her throat, or the woman you see in the prison gets her throat cut by one of the guards, and she dies. The next panel, you see the guy saying honey or something like that, and there's a woman running towards him, and you find out that he was there he ended up marrying the woman he cheated on his wife with.
Oh, the mistress?
Yeah. So he divorced his first wife, and then she went to the prison because she wasn't a devoted wife and doing her wife.
So wait a minute. So the mistress cut the throat of the first wife?
No, one of the guards did.
Okay.
But you find out the whole time you're led to believe that he's there to get this lady that you keep seeing out of prison.
But it's not.
And you find out it ended up being a clerical error where when they arrested his first wife for not being compliant in her marital duties, they never marked the warrant as completed. So when somebody showed up to his house to get Mrs. Collins, they grabbed the second wife.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, that was a really actually kind of an interesting twist.
That is.
Like I said, obviously this whole thing is a metaphor for how she believes that men are dominating women and women are expected to be subservient and punished when they don't. So that part, I am like, okay, this is you're just espousing your feminist beliefs, or whatever. But that twist at the end, I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
Clever enough.
I am interested to see if they explain how the world got to this point.
Barack Obama.
Right? Yeah, no, it's absolutely Barack Obama all the way. So as much as I bought this to totally just tear it apart and bash on it, I am kind of interested in reading the second issue now.
So it sounds to me like they took Mojo World and Orange is the New Black and just...
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's about it.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say Mojo World because there's hints here that they're setting up that it is going to be something that they're televising.
See, it is Mojo World!
Because on the last page, there was a woman that was defending the first wife in prison, and she goes all...
so has the first wife and the mistress got together yet?
No. But, so this lady goes all capoeira on the...
Capoeira.
Whatever. On the guards, like all kickbox fighting, or breakdance fighting on them. And then the last panel, you see somebody saying, we just found the new star of our show.
Interesting. So it may be...
Yeah.
It may actually be Mojo World and Orange Meets the New Black.
And then there's a weird ad at the back.
Sorry, is the letter column called...
Bitch Fest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a thing on here that's bitches be like... And that's how they introduce it. But there's this fake ad in the back, too, all about, hey, kids, patriarchy.
Aww.
Yeah. So as much as I really absolutely wanted to just hate this comic, it ended up being much better than I thought it would be.
Okay.
Not great, but enough to make me actually want to read a second issue.
So I will say this about Kelly Sue DeConnick. Her Avengers run started off very strong.
Right.
Her Ms. Marvel run started off Captain Marvel run started strong. But then it just kind of peters out.
Right.
So I'd be interested to hear if this is one of those books or not.
Yeah. And I wonder if, not that I think this is an excuse per se, but maybe they petered out because she was so constrained in what she could do to the characters. Because as much as, she's the writer and she gets to write the stories, obviously she can't write things that are detrimental to a character per se.
No, and I get what you're saying, and that is always an argument of, well, the editors didn't let me do that. You have that with actually Matt Fraction leaving Inhuman before issue number 1 because the story he wanted did not go along with Axis and everything else Marvel's doing. So did Kelly Sue DeConnick have the same thing? Maybe. I don't know. I have a very mixed feeling on Kelly Sue DeConnick, just given her fan basis... annoys me. There's no nicer way for me to say it.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you can't like her books. I'm not saying you can't like her. I'm not saying you can't like Captain Marvel. Like, I love Chuck Dixon, and a lot of people, and he's not well received in the comic book industry.
No.
Neither is Ron Mars, who's another writer that I love. So I get that. Because
you're such a huge Witchblade fan, yeah.
Talk to you, man. Kyle Rayner, the dude brought Kyle Rayner to what he was.
Which is why I hold it against him.
Don't. What I was going to say, I don't even remember what I was going to say now. I'm so angry about your comment. It'll come to me.
All right.
I'll remember some other time.
Okay.
Kelly Sue DeConnick, editors, writing. Right. So her fans, what bothers me, and she's actually brought this up in the panels before, the Carol Corps, which is what her fans are called, are they're loud and they advocate for what they believe in. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is... they want to read more, and again, I'm generalizing, so this is not everybody, but this is the generalization. They want to read more books written by women for women.
Right.
That's like me saying I want to read more books about chubby Mexicans for chubby Mexicans. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be for me.
So you want a Nacho Libre ongoing series?
Essentially, I will only read things by Mignola.
Yeah.
That's the only writer I got.
Yeah,
that's my only chubby Mexican brother, Orle Holmes. But what I don't understand about that is Batwoman is an amazingly powerful female character written by a man. It's not okay. Greg Rucka writes amazingly powerful female characters.
Right.
Again, written by a man. But no, only a woman can write strong female characters.
Because a man doesn't know what it's like to be a woman.
Okay, well, then a woman doesn't know what it's like to be a man, so I don't want a woman writing any man books. You see,
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Yeah,
I don't care who's writing my book as long as it's a good book.
no, Gail Simone will never touch Batman. That's fine.
But she does great with Catman. She does great with Catman.
Batman do.
You're just being sexist,
Yeah.
Jay.
Well,
So even Kelly Sue DeConnick came on record as saying, though, if you like my books, you have to buy them. Captain Marvel has been canceled twice due to lack of sales.
Right.
So you can't just be a loud advocate. You need... Look at, clearly, I talk with my wallet. I've never written a tweet about comic books to a writer. Never sent in a letter to the editor. If I like it, I buy it. If I don't like it, I drop it. End of story. And unfortunately, Kelly Sue DeConnick has said, you guys got to talk with your wallet because all the tweets in the world isn't going to change what Marvel cares about, money.
right.
So I would be interested to see where this goes.
Okay, that's
all I got, man.
Yeah.
That is
It's a good way to go out.
That is a good way to go out. Everyone have a great week. I'll be in New York. Hopefully I'll be back from New York if I don't get flooded or snowed. How's there 2 advisories?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't get it.
Maybe it's gonna snow and then heat up real quick,
And then just flood?
or it's gonna rain a lot and then get real cold.
I have to wear my robe and my staff. Bring some 10 Commandments with me. Some tides. Have a great week, everybody.
See you next time.